One wrong conversation can cost you money. One weak message can train a client to ignore your boundaries. One emotional reply can become evidence against you. One badly handled disagreement can destroy a relationship that took years to build. Most founders think business losses come from bad markets, bad staff, or bad luck. Sometimes they come from your mouth. This is move 3 in the August Chimen Business Strategy series, Winning the War of Words. And if you ignore this move, do not be surprised when a preventable problem becomes an expensive lesson. Because August is not for giving founders who communicate carelessly. Monkey Month strategy and autumn metal energy amplify pressure. Misunderstandings become disputes, become conflicts, become costs. The founders who understand this will protect their position. The founders who do not will spend the next few months cleaning up damage they could have avoided. The person who wins is not always the loudest. It is usually the one who controls the frame before speaking. Lebo, most founders are terrible at conflict. They avoid it until it becomes expensive, or they attack too early and make it worse. Then they call it honesty. Sometimes it is just emotional leakage disguised as leadership. Client wants a refund. Founder panics. Staff pushes back. Founder gets defensive. Partner questions the plan. Founder feels attacked. Vendor delays delivery. Founder sends a message that creates 3 new problems instead of solving one. Then they wonder why everything feels harder. The painful truth, many founders are not losing because of strategy. They are losing because they cannot control themselves when pressure arrives. Every time that happens, somebody else gains leverage. Lebo, August's business strategy is not just about growth. It is about protection, protecting your terms, protecting your position, protecting your reputation, protecting your relationships, protecting your future options. Because once a conversation goes wrong, you cannot always take it back. Words create expectations. Words create leverage. Words create evidence. Words create pressure. Words create exits. And sometimes words create legal bills. The founders who understand this will strengthen their position this month. The founders who ignore it may discover that one careless message can cost more than an entire marketing. Bisha, this is where Chimen Dunjia becomes practical. Chimen for business owners is not about predicting difficult people. Difficult people already exist. Chimen helps you avoid becoming the reason a situation gets worse. It helps you ask better questions. Is this the right time to confront? Is this the right time to negotiate? Is this the right time to document? Is this the right time to pause? Is this the right time to escalate? Is this the right time to walk away? Most founders never ask these questions. They react, then they pay for the reaction later. That is why business timing matters. Because the right words at the wrong time can still fail. And the wrong words at the wrong time can create damage that follows you for months. Here is the founder mistake. They speak because they are triggered. They should speak because they are prepared. Triggered speech wants relief. Prepared speech wants results. Very different. If you speak to release emotion, you usually strengthen the other person's position. If you speak to create an outcome, you strengthen your own. One creates temporary satisfaction. The other creates long-term advantage. Most founders choose satisfaction, then wonder why they lost the negotiation. That is negotiation strategy. Not winning by force, winning by frame. Before any difficult conversation this August, separate facts from feelings. The client's delayed payment. Fact. The client does not respect me. Interpretation. The staff missed the deadline. Fact. They are disloyal. Interpretation. The partner challenged your idea. Fact. They are trying to undermine me. Interpretation. You may be right, but if you lead with interpretation, you lose credibility. If you lead with facts, you gain authority. And authority is what protects your position when pressure rises. Founders who cannot separate facts from emotions become predictable. Founders become easy to manipulate. Next, control the frame. A client asking for a refund will frame it as dissatisfaction. You frame it as scope, delivery, expectations, and agreed terms. A staff member avoiding accountability will frame it as workload. You frame it as ownership, standards, and consequences. A partner pushing a risky idea will frame it as opportunity. You frame it as timing, downside risk, resources, and strategic fit. A vendor failing delivery will frame it as an unexpected delay. You frame it as impact, remedy, and revised commitment. Frame decides the battlefield. If you enter someone else's frame without thinking, you are already defending instead of leading. And founders who constantly defend eventually lose control of the conversation. Now, decide your non-negotiables before the conversation, not during, before. Because if you decide your boundaries while someone is pressuring you, you will negotiate against yourself. That is how founders give discounts they regret, accept terms they hate, keep toxic clients, tolerate weak performance, enter partnerships they should have rejected. Then months later, they complain about the outcome. But the outcome started the moment they entered the conversation unprepared. The market rewards clarity. It punishes hesitation. Use this simple structure. Here is what happened. Here is the impact. Here is the standard we agreed to. Here are the options from here. That is enough. No emotional essay, no desperate explanation, no need to convince everyone that you are a good person. Business owners lose authority when they over-explain. Say less, mean more. Document everything, then act according to the standards you communicated, because consistency creates credibility, and credibility creates leverage. This becomes even more important in Period 9 business strategy. Visibility amplifies consequences. A private conflict can become a public perception issue. A client dispute can become a reputation problem. A careless message can become a screenshot. Weak response can become a pattern. Many founders still behave as though mistakes disappear. They do not. They spread. And once they spread, you no longer control the narrative. That is why founders who master communication gain an advantage. Everyone else becomes vulnerable to avoidable damage. So this month, stop asking only one question. What should I say? Ask a better question. What outcome must this conversation protect? Payment, closure, accountability, renegotiation, exit, protection, alignment? Because when the outcome is clear, your words become sharper, your position becomes stronger, and your decisions become harder to manipulate. Mahot? The August move is simple. Do not speak because you are angry. Speak because your position is ready. Do not negotiate because you are afraid of losing the deal. Negotiate because what the deal must protect. Do not reply instantly because someone triggered you. Respond when the response serves the outcome. The founders who apply this move will protect profits, relationships, and leverage. The founders who ignore it may spend the rest of the quarter fixing problems that never needed to exist. That is the real cost, not the conversation. The consequences that follow it. Silence is not weakness when it protects your position. Silence is weakness only when it comes from fear. Know the difference. Bola Paso. Subscribe if you want more Chimen Dunjia, August Chimen forecast, negotiation strategy, Chimen for founders, Chimen for business owners, Chinese metaphysics, business strategy, Period 9 business strategy, business timing, strategic execution, and leadership clarity. And if you are dealing with a client dispute, legal issue, delayed payment, partnership tension, staff conflict, or an important negotiation this August, do not guess. The founders who get timing wrong often discover the mistake only after the damage is done. If you want to know which August move applies to your business, your timing, and your chart, book a private Chimen consultation. Because sometimes the problem is not what to say, it is when to say it, who to say it to, and whether you recognize the risk before it became expensive.